All right, well, let's go into the second part of our morning. And I want to talk about tools. A lot of you are not using any tools at all. And I thought that some of the tools are, groundbreaking in terms of they're really simple, they're quite affordable. I mean, everyone can afford to pay $20 a month for a tool that's going to generate them heaps of business. Wouldn't that be right? Yeah. Is anyone using AWeber here? Yeah? How's it working for you?
It works without any issues.
Okay. How was lead generation before you used AWeber? Okay. Do you use AWeber to maintain your customer records as well?
Yeah, I need to probably do a better job with phone numbers.
Okay. Can you maybe explain in your words, because I'm going to go real technical to the rest of the group, what does AWeber actually do?
Stores emails or potential leads emails or anything you want, phone numbers, names.
Yep. So you know that form that we had a look on earlier this morning, GK Fitness had that form that came up. Is that a AWeber form on your site? So basically that form is generated by AWeber. Now what happens every time someone puts their name, email and phone number into that form, it gets stored in AWeber. And what happens straight away is you probably got an autoresponder coming out to them straight away, right? So there's an email that comes out straight away saying, thank you for applying for our $97 complimentary session or something like that. Please make contact via this email or call me now to book your time, something along those lines, right? So autoresponder, how cool is that? How many times have you put your name and email to something you haven't received anything and you never heard from anyone? Like, it happens a fair bit. A lot of people just don't do this. Most of the forms on the websites go just directly into your email and nothing gets stored. Now, why this is important is if you are advertising, the first thing you're trying to do is you're trying to build a list. You're trying to start off your funnel because obviously not everyone's going to be a customer. Someone might inquire about personal training, but what you'll find is that they're not right at this moment, but you like to keep them on your list, whether it's newsletter, customer prospects, whichever way you like to look at it. Would that be right? AWeber allows you to build that customer base, and then depending on events, you can actually send them information. So let's say automatically you can send them an email saying, hi, thank you for putting your name and email into our websites. We'd like to get back to you as soon as we can. Or you can basically say, thanks for requesting this free consultation session. We'll be in contact with you shortly because we got your details. A week later, we can basically contact them again via email and say, how was that complimentary training session? Obviously, you've got to build your autoresponder sequence around your business processes. But the whole system can basically put your marketing funnel on autopilot. So you can pre-write all of your responses, space them out 2-3 days, months in advance, and you can pre-write all of your email marketing, for example. This system does that really, really well. Now, the beauty of AWeber is that it allows you to basically set up your list, and you can have as many lists as you like. So each form could be linked to a specific list. You can basically have autoresponder, and you can have broadcast emails. Broadcast emails means that once you've got a database, let's say you want to send a huge email to all your list and you want to see what the reaction is going to be. Let's say you've got a special offer. Things are going to be quiet after New Year's, for example. You'd like to get everyone notified about how things are going, what you're doing, what you're offering. Is that an awesome tool to have? Would you like me to show you how the actual setup works? A couple of people in the room? All right. The reason why I picked AWeber is something I've been using for a very long time myself. And they give you like a $1 trial to check it out, so it really doesn't cost an arm and a leg. It's very easy to sort of follow through. Another tool very similar to this is called MailChimp. Have you guys heard of MailChimp? Anyone using MailChimp? Yeah? How do you find it? Good?
It's great,
yep.
But it doesn't have the capability to do all the autoresponder setup.
Yeah, it doesn't do a couple of things. Now, MailChimp is very attractive for a lot of people that like free stuff to go, oh, it's free for up to 2,500 people. And you go, that's great, I'm going to jump onto it straight away. The trouble is, it's limited functionality. Limited in such a way that if you go above 2,500 people, which sounds like a lot, but once you go over that, you'd be paying something like $40 a month for them. And they don't do forms. They can do a web form, but it's really, really clunky. Now, do you guys know what spam is? Can someone explain to me what spam is, like in simple terms, because it's important? What's spam? Yep, unsolicited emails, something you subscribe to and then you start receiving other crap that you haven't subscribed for, all that sort of stuff. Now, there's a huge spam regulation in the world. There's a company that controls domain names. It's called ICANN. They also, ICANN. they also look at things like spam regulations as well. So they advise you how to run your email marketing and do all that sort of stuff. Now, in order to do your marketing in a holistic way, you need a double opt-in approach. Does anyone know what double opt-in means? That's right. So you put your name and email into a form, and then an email comes to you and you say, yes, I'd like to confirm that I've actually done that. So while it sounds like a really sort of good process, it becomes inefficient when people receive a lot of emails, and a lot of people want information straight away. So someone put their name and email, they have to confirm before they actually get something. AWeber bypasses the whole thing purely on you taking all the responsibility for it. MailChimp enforces double opt-in, so you can't bypass it. In MailChimp, you can do a form, but it's not going to be able to get you to get someone's details unless they verify the information. So it becomes highly inefficient. AWeber, on the other hand, I'll show you how to set it up, but basically, someone goes and fills out a form. They basically go directly to a thank you page. This is what we call, in terms of a page where people end up once they submit something. With MailChimp, they fill this out. They get nowhere. They need to confirm their email, and then after that, they basically be sent somewhere else. So you don't want that. MailChimp is really good only for one thing I find. It's when you got a list of customers in Excel spreadsheet or your Outlook, and you'd like to basically broadcast email to those people. You can import those people into MailChimp, and you can email them as a whole. That's really cool for that. MailChimp, on the other hand, doesn't allow you to do imports. If you've got a huge list of people, that wouldn't allow you to just get all those people in there. MailChimp works the other way around. They will get you to double opt-in that import of the customers for the same reason. But for web forms, which is what we want, they're totally fine. Does that make sense? Cool. All right, let's have a look at AWeber. Hopefully I'll remember my password. Haven't used it for a while. I use other tools now as well. So this is my AWeber account. I've already logged in. So it's one of my trial accounts. So let's say I'd like to go and create a new list. So I'd like to create a new list, let's say, for Google AdWords training, which I showed you earlier, right? So we can sort of stay on the same pace. So I'd like to maybe come up with an offer where I want people's name, email, and phone number, and some sort of a call to action. So I'm going to go and create a new list. So create a list. And I'm going to call this list obviously relevant to something I can remember. So AdWords training, Brisbane. So what's going to happen is if someone is going to receive any information from me, this is the information that is going to come from. And by default, for spam reasons, you need to have your mailing address there as well. So you're a credible business. You're not a, some sort of a spam place, so they can always refer somewhere. You can also set so that all the notifications, let's say if someone puts their name and email, will arrive to a particular email address. So let's say if you are doing some work with a business partner or something, or you'd like someone else to be receiving copies of it, you can put in another email in here. So I'm going to hit Save Settings. So basically what I've just done is I've created a new list, AdWords Training Brisbane, that's what it's called. Now what I want to do is, first thing I want to change is the confirm opt-in, which is the double opt-in. By default it's enabled, but you can turn it off. So by default this is going to come out to people. Confirm your subscription, we've received your request for information from the group. Before we begin sending you the information, you request that we want to be certain that you have the permission and all that crap. Do you really need that to come out to your customer or your prospect? What do you think, guys? Yes, no? Absolutely not. Like you want to turn this off. So require opt-in on web forms, and it gives you a small disclaimer that it's your responsibility. Yes, I want to turn this off. Yes, I'd like to turn it off. Come on. Whatever it's doing right now. Yep, it's off. Ah, I've done it twice. And what you can also do is you can also customize your confirmation success page. This is basically for this email. If someone does click to confirm their stuff, if you do want to stick with double opt-in, you can send them to a particular page, but we're not going to worry about that at all. So we've turned the double opt-in. They will go directly to where we need. There's no confirmations or anything. So now we can basically start getting leads. So the next thing for us to look at is actually a form. So we're going to go to sign up forms.
So you would recommend turning off confirmed opt-in?
Absolutely.
In every case?
Yeah. If you're doing lead generation from your website, you need to eliminate the number of obstacles for that lead to come through. If they need to confirm anything because they're going to say, oh, I've applied for this free consultation, now it's saying that I'm enter a subscription, I'm going to get something. I'm not cool with that, you know. So create your first web form. So it takes you through this builder, so a form builder. So this is your default, this is what it looks like. So you can choose a couple of different types that they have for you. You can load a particular template. There'll be quite a number for you to choose from. And you can set up your own. You just need a bit of graphics put around. So let's say I want to look at the corporate styles. You know, something quite simple. Sign up, I don't want that. Subscribe. Okay, maybe I'll go with this one. Not sure why it's so slow today. Anyway, it's just probably going to take a while. Oh, here we go. This one. Anyway, so we're going to go with this. So by default, it's got name and email. But let's say I'd like to add another field and call it phone. I want their phones as well. So phone field. Save that. I'd like this to be a text input, so you can actually select whether it's going to be a drop down, a radio button, a huge area, or a date. And I don't want any values in that, but value means you can actually put something inside that form straight away. Now the most important bit is you need to check required here, otherwise people can leave it blank. So you definitely want their phone numbers. So now we've got name, email, phone number, and phone number is probably more important to me, so I'm actually going to go and move this up on my form. So name, phone, email. Now, don't really like the sign up writing. Don't you hate when something like this happens? Yeah, it doesn't allow you to change, so I'll try a different one. You've also got some disclaimer information below your form. You can remove that or customize it. I want to eliminate all these things that I don't need. So the offer that I've put together is basically AdWords training in Brisbane, guaranteed to save you 20% of your current campaign. Book your session. Please inquire via the form. So book your session is my call to action. And I'd like to sort of change the color of that as well. So we make it blue, make it bold, and make it a bit bigger too. I think I've removed the header altogether. Header. Yeah, book your session now. Name, phone, email, sign up. Don't really like sign up, so I'm going to find another template that allows me to change what the button looks like. So the text of the button, submit. So book now. So that's my button. You can position where button is. You got all these components, so I'll put it in the center. That looks okay. Obviously you can keep playing around with the way it looks, but that would do for now. You can change the color schemes of this. There's heaps of settings for each one of the header, body, labels, and all that sort of stuff. Or you can actually go advanced and provide things like, you know, I'd like to use another button image, or I'd like to use another background. So you can customize any element of this. So it's quite easy to sort of make this look like exactly how you want it. So I go save now. So this is my form. I'm going to go to step 2. Now call my form something. So book now. Now the next bit is thank you page. So if I were to leave this as a basic version, every time someone submits something in there, that would go to a form which would be an AWeber page saying thank you for subscribing, and it'd be pretty relevant to what I want. So what I really want is I want people to be sent to a custom page on my website. And I haven't got that page at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and quickly create one. Is this making sense to you so far? Pretty easy? Okay. So I'm going to go add new. So call it complete, booking complete. So thank you for booking your, thank you for your inquiry, something along those lines. We'll be in touch with you within 24 hours or something like that. It's got to work around your business as well, so don't just try to overpromise or anything. So I want to publish this page, so it's live, and this is my address for that page. So let me just have a look at it. So this is the page, nothing special. I can remove the sidebar just to make it a bit better. I can remove all the other objects, but it's sort of irrelevant for now. So what I want is I want to use this page as a thank you page to my form. And what you'll also find is some people might come back more than once, and you want them to go to either that page or something else, but you don't want them to go to the AWeber default page. Some might go and inquire, and then 3 months later they might say, oh, this was really good, I didn't really take any action, we didn't get anywhere, I want to apply for it again. So already subscribed people will go to that same page. You can save that. And now if you go to step 3, it tells you, will you install your form yourself? Will your designer do it for you? Let's say I want to do this myself. And it gives you 2 ways of doing this. There's a JavaScript and there's a HTML. You don't need to worry about the elements of this code. You just basically copy all of it. So copy all this code, then go to your website, and let's say we will want to change the sidebar of my website, which is, let's say, which is currently called default sidebar. That's the one we have. We've got a couple more as well. So contact critique. Let's just say I'm going to go and change my critique sidebar, just because I've already got it set up. So under appearance, there's a section for widgets, which is all these little elements that I've got running throughout my website. And what you'll find there is basically I've got my default sidebar, which is that, contact sidebar and critique sidebar. Well, critique sidebar, I only use it for a couple of pages. I don't want to use it anymore. It's already got some sort of code in here from AWeber. I'm going to go and basically paste my new code in here. So delete all this, paste this new code, bang. So when it's saved, I want to go back to my page for AdWords training, and I want to enable that sidebar, which is the critique sidebar. On this page. So in page settings, it's using default sidebar. I'd like to use my critique sidebar, which has got my code in it. So I'm going to update this. And if we are to view this page, what you will see now is, there you go. There's the form right there. How cool is that? So what we've done is we created a form, and now if you were to go into sign up forms, you'll go, okay, well, there's our form right here. This is how it's set up. It gives you the number of submissions, the number of displays, which is the impression, and it gives you the conversion ratio here as well straight away. So if I were to go, oh, cool, let's actually go and test this. So I'm just going to refresh it one more time, just to make sure that everything comes up properly. And I'm going to go, okay, we're going to book a session, Alexi, phone number, and email. It's got to be a valid email. And I'm going to go book now. This is going to redirect me to booking complete. Ta-da, we're done. So now within AWeber, the results might sort of delay a little bit, but if I were to refresh this page, it goes, oh, there's been one submission. In terms of displays, because I've been setting up from one IP address, it doesn't track that. But if you were to make this public, the ad public, you're going to get heaps of display there as well. Is that pretty cool? Now, if you have more than one subscriber, you want to have a look at your all stats for this particular list, which is now selected. You can go into something like Manage Subscribers, and you can actually go and see. So you can actually add subscribers yourself, which will get that notification that you don't want. Or you can actually go and see the whole subscriber data. Hating slow internet anyway. So let's have a look at a couple of things they've recently changed the interface. Usually when you click on this, that would give you all of your subscribers straight away. Here we go. That's what I wanted to find out. So it's got me there straight away. Subscribe today, 9 a.m. So if you're going to have more people, it'll give you all the records for those people. And if you click on me, it tells you straight away all the information that's been put in there. So this is the phone number that I put in there. This is all the information about what I've done. There's also things like my IP address there as well. And this is where I ended up as well. So it gives me full specs. So this is where to look for it. What used to be really scary about this bit is that they used to also show your longitude and latitude of where you did the submission from. So if you take that information and put it in Google Maps, it tells you exactly where the submission was made from, which I found very scary, but they recently removed that as well. Can you imagine it? Like so much information about what you've just done. So far...
If you attach AWeber,
yeah.
and like say you've got to set your website up,
yeah.
So that you get the notifications,
Mm-hmm.
will it go through the channel of the way the website is set up, or do you have to come to AWeber to get the details of the person that's...
All this information, because the account is set up in my name, is sent to me as a confirmation. So yeah, in an email. It tells me someone just basically put their name and email, here's what they submitted, so all the information goes to your email straight away. At the same time, it gets recorded in your AWeber account as well. So you get, because with your email, you can't do anything. You deal with that inquiry, but you're not really building any databases, right? You're just getting emails all over. So that's the whole beauty of it. So now when you build all of your subscribers here, you might have a couple. What you need to do is you need to set up your follow-up series. So let's say I'd like to set up an email to be sent out automatically when someone subscribes. So it's obviously not going to happen for me already because I've just submitted my name and email. But you can basically create your follow-up sequence. It used to be called autoresponders, now they're called as follow-up. But basically, it's a wizard of structuring an email and putting a timestamp on it, whether it happens immediately, 1 day later, 2 days later, or whatever. So if you look at this, it's all pretty straightforward. It gives you heaps of templates to choose from. It goes, well, put your subject here. That's what you can do. So thank you for booking your training. And then what's going to happen is it's got this really cool features. This is called personalization. So hi, first name. What this means is that whatever name people put into the form is what they will be referred to via using this, this little element here. So hi, Alexei, and then the rest of the message. It makes message personalized as opposed to writing hi or to whom it may concern or anything like that. It makes a huge difference, specifically to people that you will be talking to.
That's another thing that MailChimp doesn't do.
Yeah, it does it, but it does it in a really awkward way. And to choose your personalization, there is a section here for personalize. When you click on that, it tells you what do you want to personalize them by. Full name, first name, last name, email address, phone number. So first name is really what you need. You can even personalize them by IP address. You just submitted your thing from this IP address. Anyway, so that's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to go and teach you about how to structure your email templates and stuff like that. It's a totally different kettle of fish, and I'm sure you can do a really good job at that or find someone who can help you with it. But basically what I find important after you set this all up, so you go next, it asks you to track clicks, and first email by default is going to come out automatically. This is your follow-up sequence. So everything that happens from that submission point. So I've just created a notification email. Someone who puts their name and email in here will get this immediately to them straight away. And this email also, this tool also allows you to check the spam score of your emails as well. So if you put the words like free or like put heaps of images into it, it tells you that your spam score might be like 2 or 3, and it tells you straight away what it should be. So it gives you like full analysis on that. Pretty straightforward. You can do your entire email marketing or newsletters through this as well. It's a brilliant tool. Now there's another way to send emails, and that's broadcast emails. It's exactly the same setup. The only thing is you set up your email, then you select the list that you want, and then you send an email at once to the entire list. The difference is with follow-ups, it's pretty much people putting their name and email, receiving follow-up sequence after that, whereas with broadcast, you're just messaging everyone. The setup is identical. It looks exactly the same. Does that make sense? Is that a pretty cool tool, guys? Do you think you'd be using it for your business? I highly recommend it.
Are you able to like attach documents?
Yes, you can. Autorespond to emails. Yeah.
Give you this file.
My advice to you with email marketing, you need to make it as personal as you can. So a lot of people will tell you, you need professional newsletters, you need all that sort of stuff. I reckon it's rubbish because half of those images and professional stuff it gets blocked anyway. You know, when you go to your email and goes, you know, you got to press something in order for this image to show or something. Plain text, make it really short. I'm very much against like really long emails unless they something that people already subscribe to. If it's like remedies or nutritional plan, it's specific information. So if it's something like, you know, yep, you booked your appointment, I'll see you then, great. Or, you know, how'd you go with that appointment last week? You know, I'd like to get some of your feedback and maybe a link to another website.
In my case, it would just be like tips, like health fitness tips.
Easy,
And
yep.
they could just
Yep.
click the link
And from there, there's a reporting section, which I won't go into, but it tells you how many people unsubscribed, you know, if they want to be, if they clicked anything, if you got any links within your email, it tells you, you send out an email to 100 people, 10 people opened it, from those, maybe one person clicked the link. So you can actually see some stats there as well. It's pretty good.
And is there like opt-out
Opt-out?
available?
Absolutely. All of the email marketing tools, according to the spam regulation, need to have an opt-out, which is the unsubscribe link at the bottom of each email, which is going to have your contact information and an unsubscribe link, so you're coming from the real place. And geez, like so many people send you emails from God knows where and they haven't got any unsubscribe options. Usually what I do is I send them an email back saying, listen, you know, you're violating the spam laws, I will get you reported, please get me off your list, and that usually works every time. And sometimes it comes from really reputable people as well, because they got someone in India for $100 doing their email marketing and they haven't really got a clue what they're doing and they don't really care either.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with that. Just
But does AWeber actually do all of that for you?
absolutely.
So it'll automatically put an unsubscribe, and if someone clicks
Absolutely.
unsubscribe, you don't actually physically have to go in and
You don't have to do anything. Yeah, all the unsubscription process is automated and yeah, it's hassle-free as well.
Yeah.
None of those like, oh, why are you unsubscribing? All those 10 reasons not to unsubscribe. Just really, really straightforward.
Because right now I do have a list, but I have to physically, I type at the bottom, if you would like to stop or
Yeah.
whatever, please email me.
Yeah, no, this is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Click the link and it tells you you're unsubscribed from this link. And here are possibly other lists that you might have been subscribed to this person. Would you like to get off those lists as well? So it's quite good in that respect. I think it's a fair call. So is that all making sense to you guys? So what's the one thing that you would use this tool for? Like maybe let's look at two different scenarios. What are the two different scenarios in your business where you can use this tool? Can someone tell me? Obviously, your inquiries are pretty straightforward. What else can you do with this? Newsletters, okay. Anything else? Offers, yep. You can do heaps of stuff. You can even do surveys. You can do limitless things. You can customize the form any way you like. The main thing is try to be concise, try to get people's main information that you need. Don't ask for too many things if you don't really need them. It becomes complicated for people to leave their addresses, if they're inquiring for things that don't really require those. So use this tool wisely and just consider the double opt-in as an issue. For a lot of people, it is a big deal, especially if they're getting a lot of emails. So is this all making sense? Can we move on to the next topic? All right. Odesk. Who's using Odesk? Anyone using Odesk? No one? Elance, order, what's the other one? Elance, anyway, there's a whole heap of them. I was using Elance at one stage. I was using Go to Outsource. I've been using, heaps of different services, but I find that Odesk by far is the best service. What happens with Odesk is you can actually find people to do things for you at a really affordable price. Like you need a logo designed, you can get it done real cheap somewhere else. As long as you have a fair idea about what you want, you can get it done somewhere else. If you got no idea, you're probably going to run into some trouble. So what are some of the things you could potentially outsource, guys? Can you name a few things? Like what are you struggling with?
Ghostwriting, blogs.
Ghostwriting, blogs. Cool, okay.
News.
Newsletters, yep. Okay. What else?
Some of the graphic stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah. So you might have some pretty headers, and you might want some cool buttons, your logo. You want to get things changed. Anything else?
Yeah, outsource people to do like Facebook posts for you.
Anything you want. Yeah. Whatever you can think about. It's got to be a gap in your business that you're struggling to do yourself. Okay. Graphics. How much would you pay for a logo, guys?
A lot.
How much? Like, would you pay $100 for a logo? Yeah. Who would pay $200 for a logo? Who'd pay $500 for a logo? Yeah. There's people who pay thousands for logos. Yeah. There's a really cool website called 99 Designs. You can get lots of people working on your logo, then you pick the winner, but it ends up costing somewhere around maybe $300 to $500. It's not cheap, but you get really good quality. With Odesk, it could be a bit of a hit and miss purely because you don't know what you're asking, and you're going to get exactly that. You've got to be very precise in what you're requesting people to do. So you need to put your specs together in terms of color schemes, what your business needs to reflect. And people who are doing it really well, they're doing a bit of a questionnaire. So explain your branding, maybe give me some competitors, give me some colors. Are there any particular examples you like, and then work around that? Those that are just going, oh yeah, what do you want? And they'll put something together. It's usually a back and forth process. Now, when you know that you want a solid product, it's not like, you get this done every week. It's, let's say, I want a logo, I want a professional logo. It's better to work based on a contract. So saying, I'm going to pay you whatever to get this logo done. And whenever you're writing your specifications, you really need to sort of be quite precise, saying, I'd like a logo. I want to be able to get a few revisions, a couple of versions to choose from. Because if you're going to say, I want a logo, design a logo, they can say, I've done a logo, and they can close the contract from the end. And then Odesk will ask you to pay the money. Obviously, you can dispute stuff, but you wouldn't want to go into that. It's all about creating a relationship, because how cool would it be to have a graphic designer on standby who can do logos for you for $50? Or, I don't know, do any graphics for $20. It's going to $20 to do some awesome graphics. It's awesome. You find the right person, you'll be holding on to them. You'll be recommending to all your friends as well. Now, in terms of graphics, I recommend using Philippines. For me personally, it's a great spot because they're not too far away time zone-wise. They're usually 2 or 3 hours off, but fairly reachable. Whereas guys in India and Europe, they're a little bit behind. So depending on your schedule, you might find that they'd be hard to get a hold of. Indians usually come online about 4 or 5 in the afternoon because their day usually is just starting then. Europeans, the same sort of thing. But their quality is also quite good, and they don't charge a lot. Now, what I recommend doing is, within Idesk, you can actually have a look at what projects are currently on the go, because there's two sides of things. There is you as the person employing, and there's people looking for jobs. So you can have a look at either end. And you can see what people are putting up. I'm comfortable to pay $20 for a logo. I'm comfortable to pay $100 for a logo. And you can see some people bidding on that already. You see they had 5 people bidding on that. How cool is that? So you can actually get some idea what market price is all about. So first of all, before I go into anything, I recommend you go and check out odesk.com, what's actually there, get familiar with it. I can only tell you so much, but you might be able to go there and discover something which is going to be, wow, this is really cool. And there's no way for me to sort of relay that to you. Now, in terms of content writing, just logistically, like, obviously you want good content. You don't want any content, right? So if you were to outsource that to Philippines or India, you're probably not going to get the content. You know how sometimes you get the content that's got like that Indian accent in it, you know? And you go, Jesus, why would you write something like that, you know? Or you might get some, you know, a newsletter from an Australian professional business with spelling errors or something like that. And you think, okay, geez, you know, how credible are these guys? And some people are quite pedantic, like when it comes to professional stuff, especially legal. So in my experience, I've done a lot of sort of outsourcing. It's very easy to find good guys in the States. Some Filipinos are actually not too bad if they're like teachers or if they teach English. States are good. Canada is good. But what I found to be my gold mine for content is South Africa. In South Africa, they speak English very similar to Australians. And for me, English is a second language. Initially, I couldn't tell the difference. Sorry, guys. South Africans and Australians seems like the same thing to me. Now I know the difference. But anyway, they have very similar grammar. They write things in a very similar way. And they are a fraction of what people would charge here. So if someone in South Africa would maybe charge about $20, $25 an hour to write content. And usually within that content, they can write maybe 1 or 2 articles. How cool is that? Like you can write your blog post, 2 blog posts for $25. Do that once a week. Awesome. They can do that for you. If you train them enough about what they need to do, they will put them into your blog as well for you. So if you explain to them how SEO Yoast works, they can do that for you as well. I've got a copywriter in South Africa, and she's awesome. She's $15 an hour. She is a teacher, and she just does it part-time. And she can write on anything from beauty to trades. You just have to show her who the competitors are, because she basically goes and picks up the sort of language that they use on the websites, and she goes and reworks the whole thing. How cool is that? Website development can really go anywhere with it, but I'd recommend checking out each of the profiles on Idesk in terms of what sort of work they've done before. On Idesk, when you're looking for something, and I'll show you a couple of examples, there's a bit of a history for them. They get like a star rating and how many hours they've already spent on Idesk. So you can see that someone spent over 100 hours and has a 5-star rating is definitely credible. You know, they've done a few jobs. Or there could be someone totally new, no score rating, and they might be saying, I'm going to do this for $2, and you go, oh, what a bug, and you're going to end up with a lot of crap. So it's a full-time business for most of the guys on Idesk. There are a couple of part-timers. So what you're doing, before you start anything, try to spec out exactly what you're trying to do, and imagine that they don't know anything about what you're asking them to do. Just saying something like, I'd like you to do some personal trainer content for my blog, thanks very much, is not going to work. You need something like, I would like you to write content for my blog, which is here's my address. I need to reflect nutrition factors. My blogs need to be 250 to 300 words. They need to be keyword specific. So do you understand SEO? That's one of the things that's really important to me. And then you would say something like, I would only respond to people who can come back to me with an example of their previous work. That's a necessity. If you don't do that, I will not respond back to you. Because what you're going to get is there's lots of bots that sort of they find your post based on the keyword, and they just keep bombarding you with offers. So there's a lot of work placement places in India and Philippines that do that. So they basically scan the internet for all this new information. They go, oh, there's a job there, there's a job there, there's a job there. But they're not real. So unless you ask a question and actually would expect a response from someone who's applying, you'd straight away filter out probably about 80% of the crap. Because you're going to go, oh shit, there's 10 people already applying for my position. I just posted it 5 minutes ago. I can guarantee 8 of those are automated straight away. So maybe 2 of those are worthwhile checking. So that's a big factor to consider. Now, in terms of Idesk, I normally do my job descriptions in 2 tiers. So first description, I just go, I'm looking for a copywriter to write blog posts with this particular length. English has to be awesome. Grammar has to be great. Preferably looking for someone in South Africa. Please get back to me if you can do this. My topic is, let's say, personal training, nutrition, and I would only respond to you if you come back to me with your examples. That's tier 1. Tier 2, someone comes back and goes, okay, now I need you to write, here's my bunch of keywords, could you do that? You go, yep, it's going to cost you so much. And they'll say it's either going to be per hour or per contract, or within your job setup, you can actually pick, I'd like to select, you know, this part of the world, let's say Asia Pacific, and I'd like to bid between $2 and $5 per hour for this job to be delivered. Or you go, my contract budget is $50 or something like that. Paying for your team, you've got to work out sort of the relationship you want to build with them. It's always good to do a contract initially, but don't jump into something that's going to be, oh, I'm going to pay you $200 and you're going to write content for me for the rest of the month. $200 and some of those places might be their monthly sort of income. Economy is really quite different. And with that sort of money, well, you're not really building a relationship. You're not starting at the right point. You got to sort of work it up as you go. You've got to build that relationship and really see if that person's for you. I mean, you can get a full-time writer for you for about $200 to $300 a month, writing all your stuff. South Africa, Philippines, whatever. I mean, it's not that much work for them if they're doing that professionally anyway. I prefer to work per hour once I have my team, and I've got about 12 people on my team. 5 of my active 12 people are sort of on and off, doing things like, one guy is really good at banner graphics. He can't do simple things like logos, but banners he's really good at. Another person can basically write articles that are sort of are good for SEO. And in terms of SEO, we write any sort of article that goes into an article directory and links to another website. So it depends on the quality as well. And managing your team. What I find really good about Idesk is that they have a section where each one of your contractors has got a timeline against them, and it's got like a screenshot. So every 5 minutes, in order for them to record time, they have to be running a small tracker on their computer. And you basically get a screenshot every 5 minutes. So you can see, okay, they're writing something or they're developing something. So they're not somewhere else. They're not wasting your time. So it's really quite transparent. It's like you're looking at their screen as they work, if you really want to be that pedantic. In terms of contract, it's a bit different. But per hour, you do get that feature as well, which is really, really cool. And you get to set their maximum limits as well. So, question?
With the per hour, is it the same as the per job where you basically, if you say it's $500 for this job,
Yep.
and Idesk, once they complete a certain stage, just automatically bills you? Is the per hour once they've done an hour on that timeline?
No, they get paid once a week. Yeah, they get paid once a week with the budget that you allow. So you can say, maximum, I'd like this person to work 10 hours. That's the most. Then you obviously talk to them, and they'll try to make it a conversation. Say, how long is this going to take? Say 1 hour or 5 hours. And when you're working through the Idesk interface, all the history of your conversation is being tracked, so you can always refer to it and refine that. But you don't get many people with good ratings that will sort of try to push you around or try to take your money. In terms of contracts, it's usually once you let's say you agree on, let's say, $300 for a website to be developed, they might say, we need 40% of the budget to be paid straight away for us to commence the work, and you basically release those funds, and the rest will be holding there. So Idesk is like your entity to hold the funds for you. But I pay to them once a week, usually on a Tuesday, and it's fairly smooth. Before you pay the day before, you basically get a summary of all the work that's been done against every person. This is how many hours they spend. This is how much they're going to charge. It's quite transparent. If you use Idesk properly, I guarantee you'll be hooked onto it. It's really quite something.
The only thing I'm wary of is how much time you can waste finding a good person.
Yeah, it's very hard. So usually the best thing you can do is find someone with a good rating, or ask someone who's already got someone on Idesk and say, can you share that person with me? I'd like to work with someone you're working with. Or maybe even ask people. Like, if you know that someone's outsourcing, ask them where they got those people from. What I find really cool is sometimes you can find the coder, but they'd be really dedicated to work just with one person, especially places like Philippines. You got to understand their environment's completely different. They are very Christian focused. They're very group focused. If you ask them, do you know someone else? Chances are they got another programmer, graphic designer, another copywriter that they know, and they can recommend you to them. I started off with a team of one person. I've got 5 guys working out of one office in the Philippines, doing a lot of work for me right now. And these guys are ranging anywhere from $3 to $11 an hour, depending on the work that they do. So ultimately what I've done is, you go through a lot of graphic design, for example. People want options for their graphic design. For me, doing it here and paying someone at least $25, $30 an hour is not commercially viable. For these guys, you get a graphic design, that's a day worth of work for them. They can get a huge amount of logos or graphic design for me to show to the customer. Really what we're trying to do is we're trying to cut the cost down and provide people with better prices. We don't want to charge too much. We want to be reasonable in terms of what we do, especially with startups. If you're talking about professional business, yeah, no worries, I'll bring a professional graphic designer. And in terms of my business, I form alliances with companies like social media, graphic design. So if someone does want really, really good graphic design done here in Australia, I will introduce my alliance partners. If they want something low budget, they're just starting out, their budget is sensitive, I'd use my guys in the Philippines. So with a lot of my customers, I say, listen, a website can cost you $2,500 or it can cost you $10,000, but I will do everything here in Australia, keep everything transparent. What's your choice? What would you choose? Most people say, oh, I don't really care where it's done as long as it's done properly. According to what you're telling me, that's it. Only one person in the 10 years of my experience says, oh, I want to get everything done here. Fair enough. Here's the price. So I'm very transparent about that. I let people know exactly where things happen. Like if I were to design a website, I would basically sit down with the customer, spec everything out, pick up the latest framework, the best platform for it, work out all the graphics, package it all up, send it off to my Filipino developer who's going to put it all together. He knows nothing about content, nothing about SEO. He's going to send it back to me. I will speak to my content writer in South Africa, get her to write content for this website, put it into the website. I will go into it, optimize the whole thing, make sure it's all looking good, and hand it off to the customer. So I'm still doing about 40% of the work, but I'm being more efficient about how I'm doing it. Does that make sense? And that's why I'm bringing the cost down significantly. Cool, let me show you Idesk. So basically you've got to create yourself an account, which is free. So basically you got all your messaging through here. You got your company profile. So you can basically search for job postings. So if someone's looking for logo design, so you can see what people are actually posting up there. And I encourage you to have a look at what people are putting up and what they're looking, how they're speccing things out. Now, this is basically looking at what people can do for you. You can post a job and you can actually, so there's a few things you can find jobs and find freelancers. So I'm finding freelancers, so let's say find jobs. Logo design. So I'd set up as a company because you can have a bit of a team running behind this, and you can basically put this through your credit card and do all your bookkeeping properly as well. So it's just going to be in sync with that, but it's totally up to you. And what you'll find, this is from, let's say, developers, people looking to actually get jobs off here. So logo for law firm, someone's looking for that. Estimated budget, $100. Someone's looking for, some work, and this is how much they're planning to budget. And everyone's got a bit of a budget, a bit of a rating there as well. So this is a five-star client. So they've done a lot of work, and freelancers have actually left them reviews as well. If you are looking at jobs, if you were a freelancer, so someone wanting to get backlinks, someone wanting to get audio managers, all sorts of stuff in here. So I encourage you to have a look at exactly what you are trying to post before you actually post it. To post a job, it's really a no-brainer, but make sure that you follow that two-tier process so you don't get bombarded with crap. So choose your category. So let's say you'd like to get graphic design. So let's say logo design. So give it a title, logo design, give it a bit of a description, what skills are required. So let's say Photoshop. So Adobe Photoshop, you go graphic design. So you can put a few things in here as well. Here straight away you can go, I want to pay hourly or I want to pay a fixed price, which is what I spoke about earlier. And you can say this is going to be a contract for less than 1 week, for example. An estimated workload is going to be, part-time or is needed. And then from here you can go entry level, you're looking for intermediate and expert, and it also comes back to how much they charge, what they work is like, and what their feedback is like. Market visibility, only Idesk people can see it, and you can also create exclusive jobs and invite people particularly. So if you sort of get the gist of this and you know someone is really going to be the right person for you, you can create a job and just invite them, which isolates all the other people applying for it as well. You can attach documents here as well. You can ask for qualifications, cover letters, all that sort of stuff, and you post a job. So it's as simple as that. It's really a no-brainer. Now, in terms of managing your team, I've got a few people working at a few things, and I've got quite a few projects on the go. Obviously, business is growing. So this guy in the Philippines is working right now on Create Wealth, as you can see. He's doing some work on that. And this week so far, he spent 26 hours, and this is how much it's costing me so far. This is my copywriter over here, and I've got people all over the shop. So for example, with this person, I'd like to see what they've been doing. So you can click on working now. Hopefully there's nothing nasty there. So he's basically adding notes against what he's doing. He's basically changing sales letters and all that sort of stuff. And you can actually go into more details with all this and have a look at the actual screenshots of his screen as well. So it's pretty straightforward. It's transparent. And you can have a look at your contracts as well in terms of who's contracted for what and how much are they paying. So you can reduce or increase their rates according to what you need, or their hours or whatever you like. So $5 an hour, 30 maximum hours, $3.95, that's what they're paying. So it's not easy to get those sort of people straight away. It's not easy to get your outsource. Someone might be just saying straight away, I can do the world, and $7 an hour, it sounds reasonable to you, it's a lot for them. So don't agree to everything they're saying. It's a bidding process as well. You can say, $7 sounds like a bit too much for me, let's do like $5.50 or something to start with. You really need to build that relationship initially. Now, I often do a lot of talking to these guys using Skype. Idesk is against you. Well, it's not welcoming you to use external communication sources, but once you build a bit of a communication with this person, a bit of a relationship, I find it's a bit more efficient for me to use Skype. And yeah, these guys have been awesome. You can get them on Skype and actually talk to them. Filipinos are pretty good at English. South Africans are awesome. Indians I'm having a little trouble with, but they're all good guys. So it took me a while to build my team, a couple of crash and burns. But I'd say probably 1 out of 3 people is the right person if you are following the process of 2-tier interviewing and you're giving them some demo stuff to do. With a lot of people, you might actually say, I'd like you to do a demo for me together. I'd be happy to pay you for your time before we sort of commit to a bigger project. So can you understand that? Can you do that for me? And explain to them if they were 6 years of age. Seriously, like keep it as simple as possible, because you might be very busy. You might not be describing things very well. If you miss the point, they'll do exactly what you ask. And sometimes you sort of reread through what you've sent to them and you think, oh shit, I really didn't make this clear. So spend a little bit of time speccing this out and you'll get a great job. Does this make sense to you so far? Obviously, this is all huge. You can go to reports and change all sorts of things. You can set this up to be paid from your credit card, from your PayPal, from whatever you like. And it's been a life changer for me. It took me a while to get a hold of this, but I'd say probably about 30% of work has been channeled that way now. I don't have to go and basically someone says, oh, listen, something's wrong with my website. For me to go in there, it's probably going to take about an hour just to open up the email, read everything, and take action. My hour, I price myself at $150 an hour. Do you think it's worth for me to just open an email and fix that little thing? It's easier for me to get on Skype or send them a message saying, listen, can you fix this for me, please? It's going to cost me $5. For the customer, it makes no difference. The problem is solved. I'm in charge, no question asked. And I think you should do very much the same. Identify those gaps in your business where you're wasting too much time. And Jason Brad would probably be a lot better at this, telling you exactly where you need to focus your energy, but definitely it's not these sort of things. You'll find that Idesk and all these tools might be very interesting, very challenging. You want to see how many AdWords clicks you've had overnight and you want to get carried away with it. It becomes a habit and then you end up wasting too much time. So note how much time you spend on this as well. If you need graphic design, get it done, but don't get carried away. I goes, oh, let's do something else and let's do something else this time, and it just turns into a habit. Track your time. Any questions on outsourcing? Look guys, we can talk about Elance, we can talk about heaps of other tools. I'm just sharing you exactly what I'm using, and I've just pretty much showed you 30% of my business, where it's happening right now, at what rate. And you're probably going, what? $5 an hour, $11 an hour there. So what's going on there? That's the reality of it. For $400 a week, you can have a full-on team running a chunk of your business. And it could be your marketing, it could be your copywriting, it could be a lot less than that. It's up to you. You can spend $50. You need to determine your budget. If you can determine your budget, you're comfortable with it, you can get some results for it. Any questions? Yep.
So I always need to improve my SEO and keywords and
That's right.
so I can find someone on Idesk to take care of that.
Yeah. So look for someone South African, around $15 to $20 an hour. What is what they would charge. And normally, I'd ask a question like, how many articles can you write in an hour? Can you work full time? Do you work part time? How quickly can I get this stuff done? And then they say, yeah, I work part time. I can get 2 articles written per day, no problem. Do it in my spare time. And I can write 2 articles per hour. That's your person. If they can post into WordPress as a part of that, great. Can you write and post within 1 hour? Yep, no worries. Any other questions? You guys are relaxed. I like this. I wanted to briefly touch on CRMs because we're sort of going a little bit into lunch, and I wanted to keep this session fairly short because this sort of stuff probably requires a bit of thinking about your business and where you can implement this. CRMs. Has anyone ever used any CRMs or anyone using any CRMs? One person? What's a CRM? Can you tell us what a CRM is?
It's customer relationship management. So basically, it's a
Maybe I should click back.
a database of all of your customers' information.
Yep.
A good one for personal trainers is so you can put like all of your customer data,
Yep.
all their measurements, everything.
Yeah. And why would you use a
Be
CRM?
able to contact them, like do SMS.
Why would you spend $20 a month or $50 a month or $500 a month on a CRM rather than using pen and paper?
To stay organised.
It's really about growth. Like if you want your business to grow, if you want to go to the next level, imagine if you deal with a customer like right this moment. I mean, in 6 months' time, you're not around, you're busy, and you've got another trainer stepping in, and that person might already have a connection with your business. Like they really got some value out of it. You might have a studio. They are familiar with everything, but they're not familiar with the person they're dealing. What you can do initially, you can actually add customer records to that person and say, that person was weighing that, lost that many kilos, wants to lose weight before their wedding and stuff like that. So immediately, someone books an appointment, you can find them through the CRM, and that trainer goes, oh, how was that wedding? You go, oh shit, how do you know? Like, seriously, how does this happen? Like, they know everything about you already. Everything they need to know is already in that system. It might require a little bit of time, but this is where the customer service really happens. Like, there are systems that people do in order to increase their customer service. Like, has anyone stayed at any of the big hotels? Yeah? Is there any part of their service that really sort of blows you away? Do you find any of it really professional? You think, wow, how do they do this sort of stuff? Yeah? Do you know anything like that? What I found amazing was one of the hotels in Sydney. What happens is if you are getting taken from the airport, you get out of a taxi. This is like Sheraton on the Park, by the way, for those of you who've been there. Maybe they should be doing this stuff, which is pretty awesome. You get off a taxi, you walk to the counter, and they say, how was your flight, sir? You think, how do you know? Like, it's really a conversation starter. And you go, oh, very well, thank you. He goes, would you like some refreshments or something like that? So they're really starting a conversation with you that relates to you straight away. It's not about, oh yeah, my name is that, I'd like a room. It's more like, how was your flight? It's welcoming, it's a life changer. And like, mate, how do you know I came from the airport? And he goes, well, it's one of our company secrets. This is why we asked the 5-star hotel. He goes, mate, cut the bullshit. Tell me. Like, well, I want to know, how do you know that I came from the airport? Like, how'd you, like, seriously, this is a big changer for me because I think from a marketing perspective, making the connection, sometimes for people it takes days, hours, it takes long. Sometimes you don't make the connection altogether, you lose a customer. He said to me, well, I can't really tell you, we've been working at our marketing for a very long time. It means a lot to us. It's a better customer. Mate, just seriously, cut the crap. I do marketing. I really want to know. He goes, well, all right, I'll let you know on this one. He goes, when you came from the airport in that taxi, you walked out. Did you notice anything? He goes, no. He goes, well, the taxi driver actually gets out and goes like this. He gets my eyesight and just goes like this. So you don't see that, but they go, hop, and he nods. And you get out your luggage, you walk towards them, and straight away, you came from the airport. Then they've got some other signs for all the different other things, but they can basically identify their premium guests. So the taxi driver's in the game as well. So can you imagine how simple and cool is this? You know, you can do things like that around that. Now, all these things can get put into a customer relationship management system. Now, my fiance, she worked at a couple of hotels. She's got a degree in hospitality and hotel management. The stuff they put in their CRMs is unbelievable. Like where you came from, if you had any complaints, if you, for some reason, had like a fire truck coming out, you had some fire or whatever in your room. And they got quite a few stories around that. But basically, your entire life is there for the whole chain. So if you stayed at Best Western here in Brisbane, you go to Best Western Adelaide, they'll know exactly who you are, what you've done, and all that sort of stuff. Now, can you explain to me, can you tell me, why is that important? For someone in Best Western in Sydney, getting a new customer who's been staying in Best Western somewhere in the United States, can you do something with that information? What can you do? Yeah, okay. Well, could you maybe offer them something premium based on that? I mean, so a client might walk in and they usually stay at premium rooms, and for some reason they've got a bad room, and you can really, as a hotel, front desk, you can change things around and goes, oh, I see you booked a simple room. Would you like an upgrade? We've got some available, because maybe when they were booking that was not available. You normally stay with us in the premium room. Would you like us to upgrade? Okay, yeah, no brainer. You just made more money for your company from the information that you receive from your CRM. I want you to think about how you can use your CRM for your business. And it's crucial, especially if you're seeing that there are new verticals. So for example, if people keep asking you about nutrition, and you're doing, let's say, group training and nothing else, people keep asking you about nutrition, perhaps it's a sign to get a nutrition expert on board and deal with those customers. There's more money for you. So there's heaps of systems. The one that I use is called Insightly. There's a system called Capsule. They're very similar in the way that it's all about keeping customer records. You can create tasks. So let's say if there's a number of people in a business, like my business, I have a task assigned to each one of those people I work with. So my coder in the Philippines gets assigned to, let's say, creating that part of the website. Once he follows that set of tasks, someone else steps in and does their part, the copywriter, for example. In the end, I get notified that those things are finished. So you can actually structure out, this is a project, and it consists of a number of tasks. Bang, 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 complete. You can also put in opportunities. Let's say someone is interested in CrossFit. That's an opportunity. You add that opportunity to the profile. And you can actually also do things like sales pipelines as well. This person spent with me $88 a session. They're doing it so frequently. The projection of that is going to be so much. So actually look at things like projection and sales funnels as well. Is that cool? So CRMs can get out of control. They can be really big. The one that Jason and Brad are using is called Infusionsoft. It's quite a big one, and a lot of people find it to be the only one to use because their business gets so big. It doesn't only do your customer relationship management. It does credit card processing. It does email marketing. So all the emails you guys receive goes through Infusionsoft. All the forms that are being developed on their websites go through Infusionsoft. It's a humongous system. It's got heaps of things. So for example, if you, for example, would like to submit some sort of a problem to someone who's got Infusionsoft, you go through their ticketing system. They can basically create a record against your name. Okay, you've had a problem with something. At this particular date, it's been resolved, and here's the status. So a manager would come on board, open up their profile, and say, okay, this person is a great customer. They're paying so much. This month they had one problem, and it's been resolved, or it's still open. So the manager can take charge. So it's a bigger picture of the whole business. It really allows you to grow quite big. I recommend starting with something like Insightly. We use it for things like password management and overall customer profiles. So for example, this is our Insightly system. It's a part of Google Apps, for those who are using Google Apps. It's free initially to up to 3 users, then it's $25 a month, which is really not a lot. It's really a lifesaver. And what happens here is you get a timeline of all the projects that people are working on straight away. So someone's working on something, I, as the administrator, get saying, okay, recent activity, this is done, this is done, this is done. And you can see if whether it's a task, whether it's a note, or something's been added. So this is what's been happening in the last few days. I can go and have a look at organizations, and I can find information according to each one of those organizations. So I've got all my customers in here. Projects, emails. The really cool thing, because this integrates into my email, on the bottom of each one of my emails, I've got a system, I've got a little link saying add to CRM. So let's say if there's an important email with attachment, I can add this to the CRM straight away. It's pretty awesome. Tasks, you can specify your tasks. But look, guys, you can use this any way you like. There isn't a right or wrong way. It's more about, does the system suit what I need for my business? Because it can really get quite big. This is really basic. Capsule is really quite basic as well. And what I find really cool is on my phone, there's an application that mirrors this as well. So if I need to find someone's profile, their customer details, have a look at what's actually going on in the business right now, I can do that. So if you're thinking about building your business and getting other people involved, it's a must-have without a question. You've got to have it. Any questions on CRMs, guys? You're very quiet this morning, guys. Okay.
So if it's free up to 3 people, how much does it
$25 a month for up to 6 users. Google Apps is another system that I use, which basically gives you your email through Gmail using, let's say, yews.com.au. So all my business is set up through Google Apps. It costs you $5 per user per month, $5, but you get 25 gig storage. You get your email and you get your calendar. So what happens is, if let's say all of us are within the one company, what we can do is we can actually share calendars. So you can see Alexi's busy today, you can see my entire schedule. I can have parts of my calendar shared with you. With files, I can basically share files with you within one organization. So if you go and set up your company with Google Apps, you get all the functionality. And you can go and get Insightly for free. Otherwise, I think it's something like $10 a month if you want to get it externally. So it's like an add-on to Google Apps. There's a special there. I mean, it's a totally different world, which is referred to as cloud computing. Have you guys heard of cloud? Cloud's basically about not storing information on the computers, but it's about storing stuff on servers somewhere else, and all the information being accessible from anywhere. So if your computer dies, your email is still safe. The data file is somewhere else on the server. All of this, do this in the cloud environment, so all the information is secure and you don't need to worry about the safety of it. So it holds customer records, customer interactions, notes. You can have your sales pipeline in there, and you can put opportunities in there as well. And obviously collaboration. So if you have a bit of a distance, you can add notes and stuff and speak to your customers.